Hello, everybody.
What up? What's up?
What is up, people? Welcome to our debut episode of Bear Down Breakdown.
Hey,
Wow.
hey.
Um, yeah, we started a new podcast uh, for the
Miles like
18th
again.
time.
Y'all did this shit
Oh
again.
man, it's been a crazy podcasting journey. Um,
Facts.
but yeah, we here, and I did kind of want to go into before we obviously break down the Bears. I did kind of want to go into just a little bit, real quick, uh, on or about why we switched up again,
Right.
um, and kind of just because I know there's a lot of people that not just invested in deep dishing sports in terms of like listening to us, but they invested financially. Like
Right.
they
Right.
subscribed to our Patreon podcasts and they bought merch, and we appreciate, you know, every single ounce of that kind of support from you guys. Um, but we felt like probably more specifically me, but Bruce tagged along very graciously, and I appreciate that. Uh, so I'm going to speak for Bruce, kind of, not really. We felt like it was just the best approach to kind of um, take this into our own hands and really focus on one thing,
Right.
because with deep dish in sports, we wanted to focus on all Chicago sports, and we even kind of like dabbled into like hip hop and um, other non-Chicago sports, like when LeBron won the championship. And we
Well,
even I remember seeing or recording an episode with our guy Jason Alamo about Game of Thrones, and we touched on so many things.
we did.
And it got to the point where, like, I mean, obviously, we have kids, we have lives, we have jobs. And so for us to jump on the mics, it's got to be like, an hour, a little bit
Right.
after, to fit every single Chicago sport into that
It's a lot.
is tough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why you have these like the Chicago radio shows that, they do talk about all Chicago sports, but they have like 3-4 hours to do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's their jobs. They're getting paid for it.
And
So
I was about to say they get paid a lot of money for it too.
a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get them nice salaries and nice health insurance. But for us, obviously, this is just a hobby. This is just something that we do on the side. Obviously, we would love for this to be a job eventually, but we we wanted to give more of an effort. We wanted to get more in depth into a certain subject, just one subject. And I felt like our episodes with Deep Dish and Sports kind of got a little general. We were kind of giving like a Captain Obvious, opinions on certain things. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to focus on one team, give our all to it. Just dive really, really deep, no pun intended, deep into that team and that sport. And I felt like that was the best move for us. So I
Yeah.
presented it to Bruce. Bruce, he was like, "Let's go with it. Let's do it. I hate you for doing this again to me, but let's do it. I believe in you, and I appreciate him for that." Bruce, my brother, appreciate you for putting up with my madness.
Nah,
Um,
it's all good, man. You the visionary, bro. You've always been a visionary with this whole thing. And I got your back, man. So you was really excited about it. You was really passionate. And why not? I mean, we talking about the Bears. Like, come on. We're talking about the eventual Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears.
yeah, what a team that we picked with the Bears. because I gave Bruce the option,
Yeah.
obviously, and uh, because we on Deep Dish and Sports, we mostly talked Bears or Bulls.
Right.
So you're like,
Right.
okay, which one should we talk more about? And I mean, the NFL obviously runs
Don't stop.
not just while the season's going, but the off season too. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
you look at what's going on right now, and it's just like it is very obvious as to why we picked the Bears
Yeah.
to to do this for. So yeah, we're here. I love our logo. It's dope as hell.
It's so
At
dope.
least that's what I think.
No, it's
Everyone
dope.
uses the bear and the down emoji on Twitter, so I just you know
Yeah. It's
saw that
perfect.
as a cool logo idea, and yeah, we're here. We're here. Bear
Let's
down breakdown.
let's go.
Oh, and not just that, but we also had a segment on Deep Dish and Sports called Bear Down Breakdown.
And
Um,
yeah, it was super popular too.
and it was really popular.
Yeah.
Everyone really liked those episodes. We feel like those were our most animated episodes, Bruce and I, in terms of uh, not arguing, but you know,
Arguing.
getting on each other's nerves.
Yeah, pretty
So if you
much.
want to see more of that, make sure you listen to this podcast.
Because it's gonna happen. It is
Yeah,
going to happen.
no doubt gonna happen. But yeah, so we already kind of had a little bit of this foundation set. So we just
Right.
wanted to run with it. And yeah, it's our new show. We'll be doing this every week, hopefully. Fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed.
every
Fingers
week.
crossed, man.
um but especially when the season goes on,
Yeah.
definitely we'll be, breaking down each game, and maybe we can do some film review, we got some cool ideas with this. But anyway, enough talking about that. Let's get into our Bears
Let's do it.
and um, kind of break down this crazy active
Phew.
offseason
Oh my
that's been going
God.
on. I can't.
This has probably been the most exciting off season probably ever in football, bro.
Yeah, non-Bears related for sure,
Yeah.
because the Bears have done not a whole
They've been
lot.
low key. They've they've acted like the type of team that they are, rebuilding. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they plan this whole thing. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, obviously with the madness going around the NFL, all the trades and signings and all of these things and releases, and a lot of Bears fans, I feel like, are looking at other teams and are very envious
yeah.
with their activity, and they're thinking, why not us? Why
Right.
not us? Why
Right.
can't we go out and trade for Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
Why can't we go out and sign every single offensive lineman that gets released and is a free agent? Why can't
Exactly.
we go out and trade for Devontae Adams or sign Jarvis Landry? And
Yeah.
yeah, but the Bears have not really, and not only have they not, made a big splash, they haven't even been in the talks of a big
Yeah.
splash. Like you don't hear, the Bears are really looking into Devontae Adams.
Right.
They're one
Right.
of the teams. The Bears are really into Tyreek Hill, his connection with Ryan Poles,
Yeah.
formerly with Kansas City. Like you're just not hearing that this offseason. And I feel like a lot of Bears fans are kind of running around like they're like a chicken with their head cut off. Like
Yeah.
they're just wondering what is going on. So I want to get your views, Bruce, because we haven't really talked about this, and we haven't recorded an episode of any podcast in a while.
Right.
So I want to get your views on Ryan Poles and his first offseason so far. What are your thoughts?
So you've tweeted this maybe to the point of just reminding Bears Twitter of what Ryan Poles said in his press conference, is that like he's not gonna make these huge free agent signings. He's just not. He's a, what do you say, day 3, day 4, something like that, along
Hmm.
those lines. Like that, he told us this. So why are we getting so up in arms about, oh, we're not getting this top tier free agent or that? I think what he's doing is it's he's following his plan. And that's what I respect about him. Like he told us what he was gonna do, and that's what he's doing. Look, I don't know about everybody else. I love the Khalil Mack trade. I thought that was so important because when we look at the fact that Devontae Adams got traded, but look what he got traded for. Like, look what the Packers got back. When we look at Tariq Hill, look what Kansas City got back. The Bears didn't have that. They didn't have that to give in order to get a Tariq Hill or to get a Devontae Adams. We didn't have that. So making that trade, making that Khalil Mack trade for me, that was huge and such a smart move because you need to get younger and you need to start acquiring assets. The Bears have 6 draft picks this year. When you see a team like the Green Bay Packers, they got 11 draft picks. Kansas City got 11 draft picks. I see some teams with 12 draft picks. The Bears have 6 draft picks
Yeah.
because we mortgage. I mean, now granted, we gave those draft picks to get Justin Fields. I get that. Um, but you have to start acquiring assets, especially when you have a team that is, prior to this free agency or the Bears making these roster moves. The Bears, they was an old team. They were
Hmm.
a very old team. So for Poles to come in and to really just make his mark on what he said what he was going to do and actually do it, like I tip my hat to him. I tip my hat to him for really sticking to his plan and not being pressured by fans or by the fact that you see these big splashes that's being made. Oh, so I got to go out and do the same thing. I got to go out and compete with. No, you got to. And I man, like I said this before, like when Poles first got hired, and we had and we talked about this. I want sustainability. I want sustainability when it comes to the Bears. So whatever you have to do to build that, to give me that sustainability where this is not just a one year thing, like we actually could become like the Packers and it's not about just getting to the playoffs, it's about winning a Super Bowl. Like that's where the Packers are at right now. Now, granted, they got Aaron Rodgers, but they've built a tremendous team around Aaron Rodgers. Like when you look at these teams that's in it year in and year out, they've built a great team. And I feel like that's what I want to get. That's the point that I want to get to with the Bears is just build me a great team that has sustainability where year in and year out, I want to know that my team has not just making the playoffs, but to actually go far in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. I want to get to a point with the Bears where it's shocking that we don't make the playoffs. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? Where it's not like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it's the Bears, so of course I knew they was gonna win 5 games this year. I knew they was gonna win 6 games. No, I want to get to a point with the Bears where it's just like, oh my God, what happened? How come we didn't make the playoff? Maybe it was a huge injury. You know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. Like if the Packers don't make the playoffs, like Aaron Rodgers got injured. If the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, like one of their top, like you know what I'm saying. So that's the point that I want to get to with the Bears, not because we got holes here and holes there, and we got to no, I want to get to a point where it's sustainability, where it's just like year in and year out, we're in the playoffs, being one of those teams that could compete with for a Super Bowl. So if that means we got to start to build now through this way, through the draft, and through like unloading some of these huge contracts that we gave to a Khalil Mack, to a Akeem Hicks. Like if we got to get to that point, then I'm okay. I'm okay with the rebuilding thing. Now, here's the thing with Poles is that he has to understand like the rebuild can't take like we'll give you this year, but you see what I'm saying? This can't be like a 3 to 4 year, type of situation. Like it, you have to start to rebuild now, but it's not going, it can't last for 5 years. Like the NFL don't work that way. So to your point about Poles, like I'm excited. I'm happy with what he's doing. I look at some of the people that he signed and know they're not splashy. It's not fancy, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's I think it's the start of something. And so I'm encouraged by that.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that I got to hear. Can you hear me?
I
Can
hear
you
you.
guys?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Because I started cutting out a little bit, and my internet's wonky. You guys are gonna have to bear with me. Sorry about that. But um, no, I agree 100% with everything that you just said. Like, I think Bears fans, in terms of their reaction to what's going on right now with the Bears and how Ryan Poles is kind of maneuvering through this, I think a lot of them are just a little bit spoiled because you look at the way not just Ryan Pace, but Phil Emery, like both of those guys went out and made big splashes. Like Phil Emery went out and got Julius Peppers, if you remember that signing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of us were super excited. I mean, it, I know I was super excited with that signing, and obviously it um, made our defense a lot better. We went to the NFC Championship game. Ryan Pace went out and traded, you know, for probably the best defender at the time, Khalil Mack, and we won the division right after. So these big splashes that these guys have made and big signings and everything, we have not seen a GM come into this city besides the GM who was the Bears GM in like the early 70s or late 70s, early 80s, when I forget his name, the dude who pretty much built the Bears 1985 Super Bowl winning team. But Bears haven't really had a guy come in and be realistic with where we're at.
Right. Right.
Ryan Poles, he's showing that he is very aware with where the Bears are at, where we're at roster wise, and he's not signing these guys to crazy money. I mean, you go back and look at the um, Larry O signing. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but the three technique that failed his
Mhm.
physical.
Yeah. From Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Cincinnati, he signed
Yeah.
him to a pretty expensive contract for a
Yeah.
three technique because obviously, the Bears are switching from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3, and the three technique is
Is he?
very important
Yep.
to running that that kind of defense successfully. But um, Larry O, I'm just gonna call him Larry O because I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't want to butcher it.
Right.
Larry O went in. He had was it an ankle injury? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah. Was
Yeah.
it ACL? Was it his ACL?
I'm not. I'm not exactly sure. I thought it was an
Okay.
ankle, but
Could be. Could be. Could
um,
be.
yeah, he came in with an ankle injury. He thought he was healthy.
Right.
That guy obviously thought he was healthy. He was shopping around, trying to see where he can get signed. The Bears loved his play. Thought he was an up and coming player. They sign him, but the asterisk to signing a player is pending physical. You always see that.
Right. Right.
Player agrees to contract pending physical. He goes to the physical. The Bears doctors and scouts are like, this guy don't look good.
Hmm.
This guy don't look good. So what happens? Ryan poses. He backs out of it. He's
Right.
like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, can you hear me, B?
Yeah. I got you.
Hello.
Yep. I hear you. I hear you.
Damn it, my internet. Okay, okay. Um, so Ryan Poles backs out of it, and I think the key to that is if this was Ryan Pace, if this was Ryan Pace's signing,
Yeah.
I don't think he backs out of it.
No.
I don't think
No.
he backs out of it because you look back. Do you remember who Ryan Pace's first signing was?
Was it Pernell McPhee? Was it
B.
McPhee
Yep,
from the
Pernell
Ravens?
McPhee, and
Yeah.
he damn man, my Wi-Fi is terrible right now. He, if you guys remember, went on the pup list immediately, was
Mhm.
injured. Ryan Pace gave him a huge contract. He was injured for pretty much his entire Chicago Bears career. Didn't play a whole lot. Um, and Ryan Pace just signed the guy, probably did a physical on him, saw that he wasn't super healthy and was like, immediately put him on a pup list, was like, all right, he'll be ready eventually.
Right.
He'll be ready eventually.
And never was right.
Um, yeah, yeah. And so it's interesting that there are some beat writers that went out and kind of trashed Ryan Poles for this signing when I think he deserves credit for looking at Larry O's physical situation
Yeah,
and backing out of it,
I agree.
not sticking to it, and
Yeah,
saying that, hey, I don't want, I want, if you're going to come on this team with this kind of contract, with this kind of money, I want you to help me immediately. I don't want you
yeah,
to sit on the pup list. We don't need you injured. What do they say? Your best ability is availability.
yeah.
That's a saying, right?
Definitely. If it's not,
S-
you just created one.
I'm pretty sure that's a saying. I don't want to take credit for that at all. But yeah, so I credit Ryan Poles for that specifically, for
Mhm.
backing out of it, for having enough awareness. That is the key word to Ryan Poles, I think, right now.
Yeah,
For having enough awareness and self control to back out of that. Because, I mean, listen, every GM, especially when they just imagine yourself becoming a GM
right.
and your first big signing, your first like really big free agent signing, and you're like, that's my guy.
Mhm.
We are, connected forever. I'm giving him all this money because I believe in him. I believe he's going to be a really good player for this organization. And if he pans out, not to say that Ryan Poles is some kind of like egotistical guy, but Ryan Poles would get a lot of credit if
Right.
Larry O came to this team, even on that contract, and produced really well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you got to think the kind of, um, and Ryan Poles even talked about it today. Today he had a press conference and he talked about how emotional it was to tell Larry O that he like we can't sign you,
Can't
man.
do it. Yeah.
You're not healthy enough.
Yeah.
We can't go through with this. Um, so yeah, it was. I think he deserves more credit than people are giving him. Were you gonna say something, B?
Yeah, I just man, to your point of recognizing like we're not gonna go down this road again. Like I actually thought that it was a because to your point, like, yeah, Poe's got a lot of flack for the whole Lario because like I think it's Ogajambi. No, I'm not gonna even try. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try and say his name. But Lario, as we the defensive tackle from Cincinnati, man, like it's interesting because if let's say Poles would have signed him, and then it turns out that yeah he is injured and he can't perform to the level that the Bears expected him to perform at, like what type of flack would he have gotten then?
Right.
So the fact that Poles recognized, like, you're injured, you can't do anything for us, like that. I mean, like I tip my hat. I tip my hat to him for just recognizing, like, we can't use you because because you're injured. Like it's common sense. I don't care if he, if that was his projected number one free agent. Like, okay, cool. But the fact that he recognized that he was injured and that he wasn't going to be valuable for the team, and for him just to be like, you know what, as great as you could possibly be for us because you're injured and we don't want to go down this road again and set the team back cap wise. No, like we're not gonna do it. So I think that's a why is that being slammed by Pose? Look, for me, honestly, Pose, he hasn't missed. He hasn't done anything for me to be like, I don't trust what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing what he needs to do for and we always got to remember that he inherited a team that once again was in a position of just like you have to break it down to build it back up. It's the same thing that Pace had to go through. It's the, you know what I'm saying? So like for what he and the method he's using, or the, you know, whatever what he's doing is, we've seen the opposite of this. We've seen the give, let's give these the money to the big time. Like we've seen this and we've seen how that panned out. So for Post to just kind of do the opposite and just kind of scale it back and be like, this is how we're gonna build this team, I'm for it, man. I'm for it. And I think Bears fans gotta get behind it. Gotta get behind it and just be like, I don't know, man. I just don't understand like the backlash that's taking place with Ryan Poles.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just take a look real quick at his signings. So, in terms of re-signing players that we've had on the team last couple years, so he re-signed Jesper Horsted, tight end, which I think was a really good move because you saw some flashes of just you could argue that you saw more flashes of from Jesper Horsted last year than you saw from Cole Kmet.
Oh, that's
I'm just
hard
going to say
because,
that.
you know, I'm a Notre Dame
Um,
guy, so that's hard. It's hard to say that.
DeAndre Houston Carson, Patrick Scales. I don't think I have the full list here. I think it's updated. But let's
Sam Mustipher, who's a Notre Dame guy.
Sam Mustipher, yes,
Latavius Simmons,
and
offensive
Latavius
lineman.
Simmons, yes. So
And you
two
said
offensive,
DeAndre Houston Carson, right?
right?
Okay.
Yes. So those 5 guys he re-signed. Obviously, not sexy names. It's not Hakeem Hicks. It's not,
Thank God.
Danny Trevathan.
Thank God he could go too.
It's not. But then some of the guys that we've added since then, Kari Blasingame, fullback, former Tennessee Titan.
Yeah.
That was an interesting signing. I know
It
a lot of Bears fans have been asking for a fullback on this team for quite some time. Nicholas Morrow, linebacker, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Raiders.
A lot of people are saying that he's going to play, one of those 3 linebacking positions in the 4-3. He's a really fast linebacker. Again, played for the Raiders. Al Quadin Mohammed, defensive end, former Colt, played for Matt Eberflus, obviously. Started.
I love that name, by the way.
Yeah, I know, Al Quadin Mohammed. That is a really cool name.
Super, right on, solid, strongest name ever.
Al Quadin. Yeah, I feel like
Quadin Mohammed. Brother Al Quadin. Let me stop.
Sound like they're Coming to America.
Oh man, for real, bro.
But anyway, I forgot to give the terms to these contracts. So Blazing Game, that's a cool name too.
Yeah.
But he got 1 year, $965,000. So I think that's the veteran minimum. Nicholas Morrow got 1 year, $3 million. Al Quadin Mohammed got 2 years, $8 million. We signed Equanimous St. Brown, former wide receiver of the Green Bay Packers, 1 year vet minimum for $965,000. We got Lucas Patrick, another former Green Bay Packer. He played guard, but I think he's coming here to play center. I think he made that clear in his the press conference that he had with the Bears. He had a two-year, $8 million deal. Who am I missing? Byron Pringle, wide receiver, former Kansas City Chief, 1 year, $4.125 million deal. Justin Jones, 2 year, $12 million deal. So I think that is the most expensive deal that Ryan Poles has signed so far.
Former Charger.
And then the very interesting one, probably the most interesting signing in my opinion so far, Trevor Simeon, quarterback. He's obviously started a couple games in the NFL. He was a backup last year in New Orleans. He signed a
Nolans.
2-year, $4 million deal.
Yeah.
So obviously something's going to happen to Nick Foles. Don't know yet. I'd be happy to get a 7th-round pick for that guy if we can. If Ryan Poles could pull a rabbit out of his, you know what,
You know,
and get that done.
look, can I just say something? This is okay. How much did we give Trevor Simeon?
2
4
years,
mil
4 mil.
for a backup, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did we give Andy Dalton
Yeah.
last year?
Yep.
And then what do we give Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think we just gave Nick Foles a $4 million bonus that he was owed.
Oh my God.
Just I think last week or something.
He has to be.
So
What is it with you know what? If you want a contract prior to polls, it just seemed like if you wanted a great contract as a backup, just come to the Chicago Bears because we'll pay
yeah.
you. We'll pay you.
Oh yeah.
We'll pay
No,
you.
no doubt. Well,
Unbelievable.
now that Ryan Pace isn't here anymore, I don't know about that. But
No, I'm saying prior to polls. Like
okay.
you definitely would have got paid as
Yeah,
a
you
as a
got paid
backup.
if you played quarterback. It doesn't matter what your name was.
Yeah.
Like you got paid. But yeah, man, like obviously the longest tenure contracts on those are 2 years.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
biggest contract out of all those is a $12 million contract to Justin Jones. So $6 million a year for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very obvious the philosophy. And again, and you said this already, and I feel like a lot of people have had to say it. I said this on Twitter, and I got a lot of play for some reason. But Ryan Poles told y'all what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He told you as soon as he was introduced what he was going to do.
Yep.
He said he was going to build through the draft and be selective in free agency. Literally his words, quote for quote, selective in free agency, build through the draft.
Yeah.
We are so used to making big splashes and trading away draft picks, and that is not how you build an NFL franchise. Just not how you do it, man.
Right.
Yes, I get that we have Justin Fields. Yes, I get he's on a rookie contract. Yes, I get that once you pay the quarterback, most of the time you struggle to make it to the Super Bowl. I completely understand that. I get that, but Rome was not built in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't go out and I'm gonna say this, and I feel like this is gonna get a lot of flack, and well, it's not like a whole bunch of people are watching this anyway, but this staff still doesn't know what they have in Justin Fields.
True.
They still don't know what they have in Justin Fields. Like, who knows if they completely buy into Justin Fields? Like, yes, they probably took this job thinking that Justin Fields can be a really good quarterback. I mean, you would hope so. You would hope that they interviewed for the Chicago Bears position with Justin Fields as quarterback, thinking that way. But why would they go out and trade for Tyreek Hill and give away all these picks when you still don't really know who Justin Fields is as a player?
Exactly.
So we really, really have to temper our expectations. We have to first off listen to the man and believe what he says.
Right.
Ryan Poles, when he says that he's building through the draft and is going to be selective in free agency, I would think that he means it, and he's showing that he means it. And it's very refreshing to have a GM have awareness and not be not miss the forest for the trees in terms of reading this roster. We are not ready to win right now. No. And Ryan Pace for so long, the only year that we were ready to win was in 2018. That was it. And even that was a little bit of a fluky season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Given all the turnovers that we had defensively, because we damn sure couldn't score on offense.
So I want to quote True. I want to quote a tweet. Well, say a tweet. I just retweeted it. That you said, and I think this is what you was just talking about. You said this on March 18th, which was 10 days ago at 3:46 p.m. Got the time down and everything.
Damn.
But you tweeted something that um is very important for Bears fans to understand. And to your point, you said the way the previous two GMs did things, it led to short-term success, one or two fluky relevant seasons. You said, I want a team that builds for sustained success every year. And reality is none of us Bears fans know what it takes to build that because we've never seen it. And bro, like that is like if you had to put
It got 137 likes. I'll just throwing that out there.
talk your shit.
137.
But when you talk about like the Bears right now, like that tweet is just that's the Chicago Bears. And we're so like as fans, we're so like we don't know. We don't know what sustained success looks like. Think about a one-hit wonder, right? Like it's dope. Like you're gonna always remember it. We'll always remember the 2018 season. We'll always remember these one-hit wonders that the
2010
Bears have had. But
2010 season, yeah.
yeah, we'll remember it. But when it comes to like if you go to the club and you asking for like you're not about to ask for like that one-hit wonder. You know what I'm saying? You about to ask for you about to ask for something that's like super relevant, right? You're not about to
Right.
you ain't about to go to the club and say, hey, play what can we play getting jiggy with it? You know,
Oh man. Why? You know what? That's
you,
actually really relevant right now, Bruce.
you're not about to ask like, can you play Here Comes the Men in Black? You're not about to I had to.
Shout out,
Bro. I'm
shout out Will
sorry.
Smith.
Right.
Shout
Shout
out
out to
Will.
Will Smith. But I'm just saying, like, you're not about to go to the club and say, yo, play me that one hit wonder. No, you're gonna ask for something that's relevant. And just to connect us with the Bears, like we're not relevant. We're not relevant at all. Like nobody, I mean, yeah, we're known. And what's so funny is like we're known for that, what was it, 2018? We're known for that season because our kicker kick the dang on ball off the goalpost. You know what I'm saying?
Twice.
So
Double doink.
yeah, double doing. So it like I'm sick of the one hit wonders when it comes to the Bears. Like to your tweet, like your tweet, man, that's so on point because we want, and I said this earlier, we want the sustainability. We want the sustainability moving forward. And so whatever it takes to get to that point, like I'm all for it. This is new. This is new for me as a Bears fan. I've been a Bears fan my entire life. Like this is new for me looking at this and being like, this is how we're gonna build this. We're gonna get younger. We're gonna get faster. We're gonna obtain assets so we could build through the draft. We're not gonna be flashy in free agency. Like I'm cool with that because you look at a team like Cincinnati, right? Who was just in the Super Bowl. How did they build their team? They didn't build their team by going out and spending a bunch of money. They built their team. Yeah, they had to suck, but they got their quarterback. They got their
Right.
wide receiver. I mean, actually, they got two dynamic wide receivers in Chase and Higgins. They got their running back in Mixon. You know what I'm saying? And so now they're in a position where they could build the offensive line by spending a little money. And they still got mad draft picks if you look at Cincinnati. Like that's what I want the Bears to become, something like that. Not this go out and you spend your entire cap on these players, and then it turns out that you only win 8 games for the season. And now your whole cap is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of that. And that's how we've been. That's how the Bears have been for years, bro. And I'm just at a point where like, let's switch it up. It's time to switch it up and do something different. And that's what Poles is doing. And so again, man, I tip my hat to him. But I wanted to give some love to your tweet because that was, man, you hit it on the head.
Appreciate it. I tweeted this out or yesterday, as well, because I rewatched the Ryan Poles introductory press conference, And obviously, he had the part where I repeated it like 8 times already, but
Mhm.
we're going to build through the draft and be selective of free agency. But he said one more thing that I think even emphasized even more on how not just free agency, but how this whole thing is going to work. So, Ryan Poles was asked if he's gotten any advice on how to build a roster from previous GMs or previous successful people, and he said, and I quote: "The common advice I got was discipline. Stay disciplined because we want results fast. There are shortcuts at every turn when you're building a roster. So being disciplined and doing things the right way, and that's hard because we all want championships right now, and we're going to aim for that. But we have to do smart things to build a roster and not do things that are going to shortcut our way to get us where we want to go."
Yeah,
And it's like you can't put it in better words than that.
you
Like,
can.
and again, he told y'all what he's going to do. He's going to slow build this thing. And I had this thought the other day in terms of like the names that Ryan Poles is signing and stuff. Could it be that Ryan Poles just believes in this coaching staff so much, and the staff that they're building and the scouts and all of that, that he's signing these guys that may not have gotten that the previous teams that they were with may not have gotten the best out of them. Like, he believes in this coaching staff so much that he believes them to teach, he believes them to coach, he believes them to scheme. These guys who may not be big names, who may
Right.
not have these huge contracts, who may not sell a bunch of jerseys, but he believes that they still have a chip on their shoulder, that he sees something in them that, other scouts, other GMs aren't seeing. And in terms of building around Justin Fields, because I'm hearing a lot of people say that this Ryan Poles offseason shows that he doesn't believe in Justin Fields because he's not surrounding him with Tyreek Hills and Devontae Adams and um, you know the other guys, other names, which I think is ridiculous. But what if he wants to see Justin Fields play well
Right.
with not so expensive receivers,
Right.
not so expensive tight ends?
Right. Right. Right.
Um, I think building an offensive line around him is very important. I think that's the most important thing, and I want to
Mhm.
see Ryan Poles do that first and foremost, obviously. But like I said before, what if Ryan Poles isn't completely sold on Justin Fields? What if he wants to see Justin Fields not necessarily carry us to the promised land and, um, kind of like Aaron Rodgers us to the Super Bowl, but
Mhm.
what if he wants to see him put together a 3,500-yard season and a 25 plus touchdown season with a new coaching staff?
Yeah.
And see his development this offseason into this upcoming year before he goes out to sign a
Right.
wide receiver to $20 million a year.
Right. Right. That's a
You know
good
what I mean?
point. That's a great point. And to your point, I'm right with you, man. Like we don't know what we have in Justin Fields. It was a roller coaster season last year, and you could blame the talent, you could blame the coaching scheme or whatever. But it was some what the heck moments with Justin Fields as well. And granted, he was a rookie. I get it. But yeah, like let's see what we have. Let's see what we have in Justin Fields with I mean, okay, he doesn't have a Devontae Adams. He doesn't have an Allen Robinson on the team anymore. Like he doesn't have those. But let's just see. Let's just see what he can do. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Because eventually, if he pans out, we're gonna have to pay this guy a lot of money for a
Yeah.
lot of years, and it's gonna take up a lot of our cap. So if we're gonna make that type of investment, yeah, let's put him through the ringer and see what he's made of. Because let's be honest, we've seen the top quarterbacks do go through this process. You see what I'm saying? We've seen the top quarterbacks go through the same thing where you know what I'm saying? They may not have the best talent around them, But if you're the man, if you're the man that you say you are, let's see what you could do. And so I'm all for it. I'm all for with just going through the ups and downs with Justin Fields this year. But you got to see what he's made of. You
Didn't
have to.
didn't Joe Burrow have, it was he like a 400-yard or 500-yard passing game last year?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
before they went to the Super Bowl, his rookie
Yeah.
year,
Yeah, man.
when
Like
his offensive line was even worse than it was this year.
was even worse,
He
bro.
didn't
Was
have Jamar Chase.
his team was worse. Like his top target was Tyler Boyd. And no disrespect to Tyler Boyd, but when Jamar Chase and T Higgins, when they came on in the scene, Tyler Boyd went to become a number 3 wide
Yeah,
receiver.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So
right,
and to your point, like Joe Burrow, yeah, he went through the ringer. Like his offensive line was so bad, he sustained an ugly injury.
right.
I forgot what he messed up, but he
His
had a
knee.
really bad. And you see what I'm saying? So he had to go through the ringer, and look what that paid. Look how that paid off.
Yeah, and I don't think we're sitting here expecting Justin Fields to be Joe Burrow,
No,
because I think
not at
Joe
all.
Burrow is one of those, like, franchise once in a generation type quarterbacks. But I think Ryan Poles, well, maybe Ryan Poles is looking for Justin Fields to carry the load just a little bit,
Who's
because
our
that's what
guys?
your franchise quarterback should be able to do.
Yeah,
Like, if you are a franchise quarterback, you should be able to carry the offense when your top 2 receivers go down. Because what
definitely,
if that happens?
definitely.
That could
Who
very well happen. You should be able to carry the offense when your left tackle and your right guard are injured.
who's our guy? And this is the reason why they're stacking the team now in San Diego. His name escapes me. The quarterback, Justin Herbert.
Oh, in LA?
Yeah. No, yeah, not yeah. I'm sorry, not San Diego. Formerly the San Diego Chargers, but
Yeah, Justin Herbert.
he
Yeah.
he's another one that when he first came into the league, like it was just like, okay, all right, kid, let's see. I mean, now I guess the blessing in disguise with him was, if you remember, Tyrod Taylor got something crazy
His
happened to him. I
lung
think it was
punctured.
his lung punctured. Yeah. So,
Yep.
and then that opened the door to Justin Herbert. He ain't looked back because he took advantage of the situation. But that team wasn't like Super Bowl ready. That team wasn't even playoff ready.
Yeah.
But they said, hey, we drafted you. Now you're in this position. Let's just see what you're made of. And he never gave that job back. Like he took
Right.
that joint. He just went with it. So that's what I'm saying to, like, man, for Justin Fields, man, like as much as it's unknown on what he can do and what seize the opportunity. Like, this is your team now. You don't
Mhm.
have to worry about you competing with Nick Foles. You don't got to worry about Andy Dalton. You don't got to worry about Trevor Simeon. Like, this is your team. So seize the opportunity and see what you could do with it.
And that's huge. That's huge. I think going into the season knowing that you're the starter, and he kind of talked about this. Um, I think at Matt Eberflus's and Ryan Pohl's introductory press conference, because he was there, and I thought it was really cool that they had him there. But I think he talked about, having the free mind to know that you are going in as the starter. You are going in as the guy. So, and he, obviously last season with Matt Nagy, he had there was so much confusion, so much smoke blown up everybody's, what. And it was such a weird vibe. I mean, and none of us were even in the building, and we could sense the weird vibe. So I can't even imagine how weird the vibe was
Yeah.
actually in the building.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely, I'm not going to say he's not going to have any excuses this year. I'm not going to say that, because again, like his weapons are still not top notch.
Okay.
But I think with Luke Getsy, who I keep hearing great things about from Chicago beat writers and former coaches and whatnot, in terms of his ability to build a quarterback friendly system. I think Justin Fields is going to take a really big step this year, and he needs to. He needs to.
Definitely.
Like, if the Bears want to go anywhere, If the Bears want to go anywhere, we're only going to go as far as Justin Fields takes us.
True.
Um,
That is true.
and yeah, I'm just hoping to see some progress with Justin Fields. I know he had a couple things to work on. Did you catch that video with him and Colin Kaepernick? I know that
Yeah,
they were throwing with each other.
I saw that. That was
Did
dope.
you notice his throwing motion?
Change. Change, right?
His release time is
It's
much quicker,
way quicker. Yep. Yep.
way quicker, and the ball's a little higher on the throwing motion, and it looks quicker, crisper,
Yeah.
more fluid. So I'm wondering how much Luke Getzey, in terms of an influence, how much he had on that, because I know that Luke Getzey, one of the things that I think he talked about in his press conference was Justin Fields' throwing motion and how he
Hmm.
wanted to talk to him about that. And you could definitely tell that Justin Fields is put in the work. And I don't think any of us questioned that in terms of the work that he was going to put in, but it was very noticeable, especially next to Colin Kaepernick, who has this just elongated Tim
So
Tebow
long. Still. Like, come on.
throwing
Come on.
motion. Yeah, he's always had that.
Come on, Colin. Like, you've been out the game
Um,
like 13 years, bro. You couldn't tighten that up a little bit.
his throwing motion's so long, and seeing them, because they recorded them throwing side to side next to each other, which I thought was really cool. But
Yeah.
it really highlighted Justin Fields and the work that he's put in terms of fixing that. So I think that just speaks to him as you know, as a coachable kid, a kid
Right.
that listens to that kind of criticism and sees it, recognizes it, and goes out to fix it as best as possible. And that's why I think I have a lot of confidence that he's going to go into this season and improve a
I agree.
lot,
I agree.
improve a lot.
I agree. 100%,
Um,
man.
Now, I know this is really early, like super early, because the draft hasn't even happened yet. The Bears, I don't think, are done or signing people. Actually, I know they're not done because they have like 80 roster spots to fill. But the Bears, the way too early wins over under has come out, and it's set for the Bears at 7.5.
Yee.
Now, I know
Oof.
it's way too early, but I just
Yeah.
want to get your thoughts, your way too early thoughts, on over or under 7.5 wins for the Bears this year.
Man. I got it. I think
You put in some deep thought.
I am, because I just look at that schedule, bro. And yeah, I don't know.
Their schedule, their schedule isn't that bad this year, right?
No, I mean, you got Washington, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Got Detroit.
all the quarterbacks have left the NFC. I feel like
That's true.
all, every quarterback is in the AFC now. So
So I look at the first. Okay, so we got Washington, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Buffalo. That's your first 6 games. I'll give you Detroit. So that's one win. Then you got Miami, Dallas, Detroit again, at Green Bay, at Minnesota, at New England. Yeah, bro. I'm gonna have to say under, bro. I'm gonna have to say under. I don't see 7 wins on this
7.5.
schedule.
Yeah, well, 7 would be under if you went with 7. But yeah, I mean,
I don't see 7. I mean, we got the Texans on here. We got the Packers twice. I mean, I'm sorry. We got
the Lions
the Lions twice. We got the Jets. We got the Falcons. So
There's some
that's
pretty bad teams on that schedule, but there are also some pretty good teams as well. Miami's going to be interesting.
Miami's gonna be bro. They probably got the fastest wide receivers in the league right now.
Oh,
In
they're one
Waddle
two.
and Tyreek Hill.
They got to be the fastest ever. Like, in the history of the league. But
Is who's the quarterback for the Eagles? Is it still Jalen
Jalen
Hurts?
Hurts, yep.
Okay. Uh,
And they were talking about like,
they was trying to get rid of him.
yeah,
They was
I
trying to
know that
trade.
Baker
But
Mayfield was in the discussion and all that, but
the Falcons, they're terrible. That's a dub.
yeah, their starting QB is Marcus Mariota now, I
Yeah,
think.
that's your boy though. That's your boy from Oregon.
I mean, he was my boy in Oregon. The NFL Marcus Mariota is a different story.
Nah, facts. Facts. Yeah, man. I don't know. 7 wins. I'm trying to find 7. I'm trying to find it, and I can't.
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
mean, look, it,
And
it
it's
all
okay.
it all depends on Justin Fields and his development
To your point,
because
yes. To your
like
point,
he can, if he is who I think he is, who I think you, Bruce, who you think he is, who a lot of Bears fans think he is, and the type of, if he takes that step that we're all expecting him to take, the Bears are going to be not, I'm not going to say in the running for a Super Bowl or maybe not even playoff contention, but
right?
they're going to be better than a lot of people think that they're going to be. Um, so yeah, it, like I said before, it's all on Justin Fields and his development. And like I said before, it, don't be surprised if Justin Fields does take that next step. He could be like a top. Do I want to say top 5? Maybe, yeah, top 5 NFC quarterback.
Ooh, whoa!
Look at the
Really?
quarterbacks in the NFC. So you got Aaron Rodgers,
Right,
obviously.
right.
I guess Tom Brady's coming back. So
Yeah,
there's that.
make up your mind, bro. Jesus, tired of
You
you.
got Matthew Stafford.
Right.
You got who else?
Um,
Who's 4?
my man in Arizona, Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could. I'm still not sold on Kyler Murray, bro.
No,
No,
man.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of potential.
Okay.
He's very exciting. I like watching him play quarterback, but he still has a lot of development, and he's like, I guess he has some issues with Arizona right now.
He did. He did.
So who knows how that's going to work out. So yeah, okay, I'll give you Kyler Murray
Okay.
because right now I would definitely put him above Justin Fields.
Um.
So Kyler Murray 4. Who's 5?
uh,
You think of
Cam Newton. Oh, bro. No, I'm just playing. I was playing on Cam. I'm sorry. Dak Prescott, man.
oh, Dak. Okay, I will put Dak 4. I would
Okay.
definitely put Dak 4. Kyler Murray 5. Okay, maybe Justin Fields can't jump in the top 5.
So with Kirk Cousins.
That's a big.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Bro, you know what? You make a great point with these quarterbacks. Carson Wentz is now in Washington. Watch out now. Watch out.
Watch out.
Bro, you make a great point. I didn't think of it until I'm looking at this list.
Yeah, Russell Wilson is in Denver now.
Yeah. Who's quarterbacking for? Oh, Drew Lock is in Seattle. We're gonna put Justin Fields over Drew Lock. Hell yeah, we are. Yes, we are. I guess Jimmy Garoppolo / Trey Lance in San Fran. Count it. Justin Fields over them too.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. Book it.
That hurts. No,
Yep.
thank you. No, thank you.
Daniel Jones and the Giants. I'm scared of that. Super Bowl. Check it.
Jared Goff in Detroit. Did you see Detroit's getting hard knocks this year?
Yeah. Shout out to Detroit. Detroit stand up. Eminem.
Why do they always got to pick the most boring ass teams?
Yeah, I'm not watching Hard Knocks this year.
God,
I'm
still gonna watch it just because I'm like a Hard Knocks addict.
Okay.
But
you can fill me in.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
You can fill me in on.
I'll live text you.
Please do.
What's
Please
going on?
do. Yeah. New Orleans has Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Bro, okay, so I'm not gonna go through this whole list, but to your point, Justin Fields has a chance to be a top 5 quarterback. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah,
You're absolutely right.
he does. I mean, this is the time. This is the time. And next year, guys, next year's offseason for the Bears is going to be
It's gonna be huge.
insane,
Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
insane offseason because the Bears are going to have over 100 mil in cap space. Um, if Justin Fields does take that next step, the amount of wideouts they're going to want to come and play for the Chicago Bears and play with Justin Fields, we're going to have a line outside Hallis Hall for every big name wideout
Yeah.
next year.
Facts.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, and I'm very much looking forward to it. This year is all about development for Justin Fields. This year is all about seeing who he is as a passer and how he could carry the team.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, and again, not to put too much expectations. I'm not expecting him to carry this team to the playoffs, but I do want to see, with a competent play caller, with a competent offense, with a competent coaching staff that teaches the right way, how good Justin Fields can be without
Facts.
super big names on the offense. It's going to be interesting.
Should be. Should be very interesting.
It is going to be very interesting. Trying to think of any other notes. Oh, the Bears didn't miss out on what's
The
his
lineman.
name?
Yeah.
The lineman in Buffalo, Ryan Bates. Yeah.
Mhm.
Who the Bears put an offer in because he was a restricted free agent. Buffalo Bills matched it. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot to report. I don't think we're missing anything. I think we
No,
talked about everything.
yeah, I think we covered what we need to cover with the Chicago Bears at this point.
Yeah. So be on the
Stay tuned.
lookout. Yeah, be on the lookout for more episodes. Obviously, we'll get more into the draft as it gets closer to the draft. Do you know what day the draft is this year? I know it's in
Um,
April.
yeah, I have no idea. The NFL, man, they just run like all year long. Like, my God, it's
April
always something.
28th. Yeah,
April
it's
28th.
the off season's all year.
Where is it? Where is the draft at this year?
That is a great question. It's not telling me.
The NFL draft
Is it in
is
Cleveland?
Cleveland. Cleveland sucks. Why would you want it in Cleveland? Oh my God.
Who vacations in Cleveland?
Nobody. Nobody goes to Cleveland.
Shout
for
out to Joe
vacation.
Kim. Yeah, we will.
No, it's in
We'll break
Vegas.
down. Oh, it's in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
we
go,
should
bro.
go.
We
Let's
should.
go. Last minute trip right now.
We should go.
I hope my
We
wife
should.
is watching this.
Yeah. I don't.
Because
Yeah.
we just made that decision right now. Just kidding. Yeah. So drafts in Vegas. Obviously, as it gets closer to the draft, Bruce and I will do our damnedest. Now we're not no NFL scouts now,
Right.
but
Well,
we will do some research.
anybody from Notre Dame is a hit. So
Shout
not
out
everybody
Cole
from
Kmet.
Notre Dame. Right.
But yeah, we will dive deeper into the draft in terms of specific names, who we think the Bears can draft, should draft. We'll talk more about that. But yeah, just a quick announcement. We have so obviously this is a Bears only podcast, right? We only talk about the Bears. Bruce and I are kind of used to talking about anything that we want.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to kind of think of avenues that we can, and platforms that we can do that we can jump on a mic and kind of be unfiltered, kind of just talk about anything. The Bulls, because they're big news right now. they're going to be going to the playoffs. Hopefully, we'll see.
It's been it's been a roller coaster with them too, man.
Yeah, we want to talk about the Bulls. We still want to talk about, baseball and the White Sox when they get up, when their season is going, and talk about music and, I don't know, movies, what's going on with our lives, and just general stuff like that. So we will be announcing something that has to do with that
Meow,
sometime
meow,
soon.
meow, meow.
We have a name for it and everything. Just got to work out a few kinks. But there is going to be a way for you guys to listen to us talk about other stuff, not just Bears, but a bunch of other stuff. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this concludes the very first episode of Bear Down Breakdown. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Finally, after we've been hyping the first episode for seems like
I
forever.
know, right?
No, but thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for everyone who's been looking forward to this. Thank you to everyone who has continued to follow us through all of the rebrands and the retoolings and the breaks and all of that, because we know that we're kind of a pain in the ass. So I apologize.
And if you stop following us because we rebranded and we just trying to just get better in life and not be mediocre, then you know what? Go play in the street, and I hope you get bit by a raccoon.
Go kick a brick.
Go kick a brick, and I hope
with
you
your
break
shoe
a toe.
off.
Yeah. Break 3 of your toes. Not all 5 of them, because you need your toes because they're important, but just break 3 of them. And then I'll pray for you and hope you heal in the name of Jesus.
Oh, God. Anyway. All right, guys. On that note,
Right.
Thank y'all for watching. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.